Hi there BookTube, it's Eleanor here, and I'm just making a very quick video to let you know that I'm going to be taking part in the SBookTactular Readathon. This readathon is being hosted by Jasmine, whose BookTube channel is Novel Thoughts, and I'll link down below her video announcing the readathon and giving you all the details. Now, I wasn't sure I was going to be able to take part in this because it is actually between the 25th and the 31st of October. It finishes on Halloween, which is lovely. But I am going to be taking part in Mercedes' Autumn Readathon, and as you know, that is running sort of just a little bit before that. It starts on the 22nd. But I thought to myself, I really love the idea of this. I'm going to see if I can combine some of my reads, and I've managed it really well. So from that you can gather I'm not going to go into depth about the books that I'm reading, because if you've seen my Autumn TBR, you'll know what most of my TBR is for this. But I just wanted to show you what I'm going to be reading, and also just to let you know about this readathon because I think it's a lovely idea. It's a choose your adventure type readathon. These were some of my favourite books growing up. The choose your own adventure, where you read to a certain page and then at the bottom of the page they gave you options, and depending on what option you picked, it took you to a different part of the story, and sometimes you made it, sometimes you died, sometimes you had to start again, and I really loved those. So I've printed out the SBookTacular sort of board, so to speak, or the choose your own adventure map. And it is stuck into my book here, so you're not going to be able to see it necessarily terribly well. And as you can see, I've coloured in the route that I'm taking. But the basic idea of this is that you start at the beginning at point 1, and the first challenge is to read a book of your choice. So for that, I'm going to be reading Names for the Sea, Strangers in Iceland by Sarah Moss, which is also on my Autumn Readathon TBR. So check. I'm then going to be taking the pathway where there is a choice between reading a book set in the future or a book set in the past. For this, I've gone for a book set in the past. This is set around 1963 and it's Secret by Lindsay Smith, and this is also on my Autumn TBR. Check. At the next prompt, I can either pick a book with magic or a book with a non-human character. I've picked to go with magic, and for that I'm going to be reading The Beginning of the World in the Middle of the Night by Jen Campbell. This is a short story collection due out in November, and it involves a lot of magical stories. So magical stories, it's on my Autumn Readathon. Check. Next, there isn't a choice of two, but the prompt is book with orange on the cover. That works perfectly because I'm going to be reading The Picture of Dorian Gray by Oscar Wilde, and this is covered in orange on the cover, and I'm reading this for the Autumn Readathon as well, so check for that. And also, quite a lot of people in my last video asked about this one. I love these editions of books. I love they've got this sort of elastic to hold the pages nicely together, and these are actually called Knickerbocker Classics Flexi Bound. So if you're interested, that's what you need to be looking for when you're looking for these editions. I've got quite a few because I just love how they feel and how they read. But this is for the prompt of book with orange on the cover, so check for this one. Next prompt is just to read a book after sunset. So the book that I'm going to be reading in the evenings for this is going to be The Clay Girl by Heather Tucker. This is also on my Autumn Readathon TBR, so tick for that. Next, I have the choice. I can either pick a book which has the word dark in the title, or I can pick a book which is the first in a series. Well, if you've seen my Autumn TBR, you'll know that the last book on my TBR is Snow Like Ashes by Sarah Rush, and this is the first book in a series, so tick tick. So this hits both of them. Now, Mercedes' Autumn Readathon only needed that number of books. There is one more prompt for my route on the SBookTacular Readathon, and the final one is to read a fantasy book. So the book I've picked for that is Fandom by Anna Day. This is an uncorrected proof that I picked up when I was in Cheltenham at the Literature Festival there. It comes out in January, but from what I can gather, this is a Dungeons and Dragons-esque style story where a group of people, a group of fans in the same fandom, have gone off to a convention and somehow have ended up being transported into the fandom that they are sort of cosplaying and that they are fans of, and have to work out how to get out. I think this sounds like a brilliant premise. this. It's fantastical. I think it's going to be a fun, fast-paced adventure story, and I really wanted to read it, so that is my pick for that. And if I complete all of those, my journey that I'm taking, I end up at the end of the route with a witch. So I will be on Team Witch. So if you're taking part in this and you're also on Team Witch, let me know. There is sort of a prize competition element in this, I believe. I'm not going to be doing that too much myself because there's so many other things going on and different readathons. But I know that if you use certain hashtags, and you decide which route you're taking and which, I think there's a skeleton, a ghost, a zombie, a devil and a witch, and obviously I'm the witch. You can join up with people who are also doing that route and ending up in the same place, and you can sort of bandy together to make points for your sort of cup, your team cup. So make sure you do check out Jasmine's video, which I will link down below and in the cards, so that if you want to take part in all of that, you can. She's also very kindly provided the map, the route that you can take on her video and also on her blog, so you can check that out there. So there you go, that is my TBR for the SBookTacular Readathon. I'm really excited actually, and I'm really pleased that I managed to marry that along with the autumn readathon that I'm doing. And it happens to be half term. I didn't realise, but I work in a school, so half term's great for me. It's great for Matilda. Matilda's doing some sleepovers with different people, so I'm going to be having a little bit of time to read. So I'm really excited to do both these readathons, and yeah, that is my TBR for that. I look forward to hearing who else is taking part, and if you're on Team Witch, let me know. Bye for now, BookTube.